I have been told that this will make the Riley Cooper fiasco earlier this season look like a sidebar once we see or find out the details of what were in those text messages from Richie Incognito to Jonathan Martin.
So we are going racial here, right?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'm just telling you.
Well, I'm wondering.
I'm not speculating. I'm quoting you what someone, a former player in the NFL who is aware, told me. He said this is going to blow the whole Riley Cooper thing out of the water if those text messages are ever revealed as to what was said to Martin. That's what I have been told.
Wow. Okay, so EA, give us your insight.
Well, again, I think everyone has great contacts here. And again, I think this is away from the typical rookie hazing. There's several people that we all have talked to that said it's more than that. Maybe a little bit on him and definitely on Incognito. But focusing on the point, it's been around for years, rookie hazing in some fashion or another. But it's up to the head coach and whatever player is the head of that unit to set the standard. And if the standard is not set, it's up to that individual. And like you alluded to earlier, as far as getting $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 bills, you have to set the limit yourself if no one in that building, in that unit, is going to set the limit. You say, no, that's not going to be done. And again, when I was with the Raiders, when I was with the Eagles, we definitely had rookies pay for things, but $500, $1,000.
So you're saying the players police the locker room?
You have to police the locker room. When Charles Woodson came into the Oakland Raiders, we all went out to dinner, but I'm not going to allow that young guy that we need to depend on to feel like he's being bullied or picked on. So it's up to that leader in the locker room to make sure that limit is set at a certain level. And that kind of goes to a different point. The league is different now. Everyone has to change and adapt, just like we had changed and adapt on the football field as far as the head contact. You have to adapt. You have to change. It's not the same old league anymore. Good teams are not doing this. You don't hear this situations from the Patriots, from the Broncos. And just like everything else, it goes along with your leadership. Your leadership has to step in, and if it's not in the locker room, it has to be a head coach. It's unfortunate that this situation had to happen, and it shouldn't happen. I'm not a fan of rookie hazing because ultimately these are men who have to find a way to get and work into a league.
But Eric, does rookie hazing happen often?
It does. It's a part of the culture. Okay. But again, you have to change and adapt, just like we change and adapt on the football field. So again, on the football field, in the locker room, it happens. But you have to have a leader. You have to have some leadership there to make sure that these guys don't feel like they're bullied and don't feel like they're taken advantage of.
This isn't just rookie hazing. Jonathan Martin is in his second year. This is flat-out hazing. This is bullying. This is shaking down a teammate for $15,000 off-season dollars because he didn't want to participate in a trip to go to Las Vegas. So, to your question that you've dropped at the end of your opening rant, who knew or didn't know about this? And I'm with you. Are you kidding me? No coach knew this was going on. And if those coaches did know, and I don't know this, but I would just have to assume that they're not so naive that they didn't know anything about this. Did they look the other way? Because Richie Incognito made the Pro Bowl last year. He's a good football player. Also voted, I think last year he was the second dirtiest, according to Sporting News, to Ndamukong Suh. Okay, so let's look at Richie Incognito, who was elevated to the captain's council on the Dolphins. Really? So the coaches are okay with he's on the captain's council and he's treating this young lineman this way, and it's ongoing into his sophomore NFL season. And Richie still, as of a couple of weeks ago, according to one of the reports I read this morning, had a sign up in his locker. There are two things Richie Incognito does not like: taxes and rookies. But he's taking that to a over the edge extent, because this is what I would call double dangerous. If in fact he's guilty of some bullying here, this is a very smart bully who, by the way, in the offseason also participated in the NFL's symposium at Harvard, business education, to learn to be an entrepreneur. Richie went for 5 days to Harvard in the offseason. So this is a shrewd operator we're dealing with. But if you look at his checkered past carefully, going back to his freshman year at Nebraska, he had a conviction for a misdemeanor assault charge. He got suspended twice at Nebraska, the second time indefinitely, and attempted to transfer to Oregon. Lasted under Mike Bellotti for 1 week before he was excused from Oregon. So it's all there. It's all in his past. But his current coaches, they're looking the other way?
Nothing.
Really?
Interesting.
Oh, really?
May I ask for a favor?
Interesting.
From the show. Can y'all please put Richie Incognito's photo up? Because on several occasions involving incidences with professional athletes, we don't see, we see their faces all the time. I haven't seen, that's the first time all weekend I've seen Richie Incognito's face. Now, why that is, I don't know. But I wanted to see that. All right, that's his face right there. Let's make sure we understand who he is, what he looks like, the whole bit. Let's put that out there on blast. That's point number one. Point number two. You know, it's interesting because, Skip, you brought up the Miami Dolphins. Again, you so vehemently denied it. I mean, they were like, what? Please, us never. I mean, that was the tenor. Yeah, that was, who, us? Never. Could possibly be true until you found out. To me, that is the most egregious part of it all, because what that says to me is that if you are so quick to deny and act like who, us, then ultimately what you're saying is that those players somehow, some way felt they had the license to do this and get away with it since you chose to conduct yourself that way. And you asking for an independent investigation from the NFL. It's your organization. Right. Handle it.